The Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force extends a warm invitation to you to be on the beat. Yes, it's on the beat. Mondays, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on NBC Radio. Get up-to-date information on crime, other police-related issues, and tips on how to better secure yourselves and properties. Join us and share your views on this informative, interesting, and interactive program. On the beat, Mondays, 8 p.m. with the kind courtesy of NBC Radio.
Good evening, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Vincentian in the diaspora, wherever you're listening the sound of NBC Radio 75. Welcome you to the Police on the Beat program. Another edition. Once it is Monday, it is time for the Police on the Beat program. The Police on the Beat program is an interactive program which seeks to further develop that very important relationship between the police and the public. And yes, we are here this evening in the studios of Radio 705, and we have with us tonight two very important special guests who will introduce in a while. But before I do so, I'll turn over to my co-host to introduce himself.
Yes, good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I would like to join with Inspector Simmons in welcoming each and every one of you to tuning in to Radio 705, where we bring to you the Royal Saint Vincent and Grenadines, the Police on the Beat program. We have a very interesting program for you tonight. We hope and solicit your involvement and participation as you listen. If you have any questions, as Inspector Simmons, he would introduce the guests tonight. Two men who are very learned in their field, experienced police officers, and they have prepared an interesting program to present to the listening audience of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Thank you very much, Constable Smith. And as Constable Smith said, I'm your host this evening, Inspector Junior Simmons. And welcome to the Police on the Beat. Before we go forward into the program, I just want to give you some police news. And over the weekend, we had an eventful weekend. Over the weekend, the police arrested and charged Mr. Mara Lavia. That was on the 28th of January 2018. 28-year-old unemployed of New Montrose, abandoning 1-year-old Simonique Lavia, she being a child under the age of 2 years. Lavia was also charged for abandoning 8-month-old Simonique Lavia, he being a child under the age of 2 years. And Lavia appeared today at the Serious Offences Court, where she answered to the charges. Also, in that fire, which took place in New Montrose, sadly, a young babe lost his life, Simric Lavia, and a post-mortem will be conducted on the body to ascertain the exact cause of death. The police also investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Mr. Omar Millington, a 32 years laborer, formerly of Glen, but was residing in Lomans Hill. Millington's body was discovered at 6:30 a.m. on the 27th of the 1st, 2018 at Sand Hill Beach. And he was lying face down with chop wounds about his body, a rope around his neck, and his feet and groin area partially burned. Millington's body was pronounced dead by the district medical officer and was later transported to the Kingston mortuary, where a post-mortem will be carried out to ascertain the exact cause of his death. Also over the weekend there was an accident which occurred on the where 14 persons were injured in this accident. 13 of those persons were discharged from the hospital, and one Miss Kalita Alexander. She's still warded at the female surgical ward at the Milton Kittenbemer Hospital due to injuries that she sustained in that accident. So all weekend was eventful. And tonight we're going to discuss these and other issues as we go further into the program. We are just having a bit of technical issues. We're trying to sort it out with our technician, Mr. Cookshank. So please bear with us. There are some technical issues that we're trying to sort out right now as we proceed further with the program. Yeah, so tonight we have two special guests in studio, and I will now ask my guests to introduce themselves.
Good evening, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines and persons who are listening in the diaspora. My name is Hezron Ballantyne. I'm Assistant Superintendent of Police, presently in charge of the CID. I'm looking forward for an interactive program. Thank you, moderator, for having us on this program this evening again, where we can actually interact with the public and let the public know in terms of security, where we are and the way forward for 2018. I want to also take this opportunity to say good night to the hard-working members of the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. I know that the commissioners, they will be listening, and I want to wish them all the best and looking forward for those calls later on in the programs.
Thank you very much. SP Ballantyne.
My name is Atlan Brown. At the moment, I'm an inspector of police and is the non-commissioned officer who is immediately in charge of the major crime unit. This program tonight, we hope to bear fruit actually in bringing forward to educate and inform persons in the best way forward in terms of fighting crime in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for 2018. Yes, 2016-17 were challenging, so we endeavor tonight to put forward some issues, some thoughts that can really assist the police in 2018 in terms of fighting crime and make St. Vincent and the Grenadines a better and safer place.
Thank you very much, Inspector Brown. And I wish to make two other brief announcements. First of all, I want to announce that the Commissioner of Police Parade that was scheduled to take place tomorrow, January 30th at 6:30 a.m. at the Old Montrose Police Station, has been cancelled. So the rank and file of the police force need to know that the Commissioner of Police Parade has been cancelled for tomorrow. Also, I wish on behalf of Commissioner John and the other officers of the Royal Saint Vincent Police Force to again extend congratulations and happy belated birthday, 100th birthday to Mr. Mitchenson James, a retired police officer.
Wow.
Who celebrated 100 years on January 26, 2018. And we commend you highly. We salute you. And we wish that you can live for another 100 years. Again, on behalf of Commissioner John and the rank and file of the Royal Saint Vincent Grenadines Police Force, happy belated birthday and God's blessings on you. So this evening we're going to look at crime. We're going to talk crime this evening, and we're going to review our crime situation in 2017 and, looking forward to 2018 and beyond. And we have in studio this evening the crime chief, SP Ballantyne, and the head of the major crimes unit, Inspector Atlan Brown. Gentlemen, welcome to the studios of Radio 75 and to the Police on the Beat program.
Thanks for having me, Inspector.
Thanks for having me also, Inspector Simmons.
SP Ballantyne, on the 2nd of January 2018, there was a change of command at the Criminal Investigation Department. Superintendent Jacobs, who headed that department for about 4 or so years, proceeded on pre-retirement leave. And as a result of her pre-retirement, that thrust you into the leadership at the Criminal Investigation Department. You're now the officer in charge of that department. How things have been going, and how have you been adapting to that new role?
Once again, good afternoon. Let me thank the Almighty God for sparing my life through the past years, and I want to ask Him for His continued guidance and protection throughout the years to come. First of all, I must say that I would have had the opportunity to work with Superintendent Jacobs for some years as the second person in charge of CID. She have done well, and it's now the time for her to enjoy what she would have worked for during the past years. I want to also wish her all the best on her retirement leave. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Commissioner of Police for seeing it fit and have the trust in me to assume the duties and responsibilities of the CID department. And as you know, CID department is comprised of the Major Crime Unit, Interpol, Criminal Record Office, IT department, and process. All these departments has their own functions.
Yes.
And what I intend to do for this new year, and we know in order to reduce criminal activities in the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force or throughout Saint Vincent and Grenadines, we must undertake appropriate and effective measures that will create safer environment for the people of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. It is obvious that the reduction of crime has become one of the 4 strategic area or priorities, and in so doing, we have to develop ways to address these concerns. I have a hard working staff. I would have worked with them for the past years. They know what is expected of them or what is required of them. They know that I'm a person, when it comes to criminal activities, I have zero tolerance for such committing in our society. But as we all know, that no countries are virgin to criminal activities. And so since I took over the mandate of the CID, I had met with all the persons in charge of these units within the criminal department, investigation department. And we sat down and we discussed the way forward for 2018. And as the program progresses, you will hear some of the strategies that we came up with to fight crimes in 2018. I can assure you that I'm prepared to do my best. I will not let my guard down. And with the support of the hard-working staff at CID and other departments in the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, we will take a robust approach on criminal activities. A person who believes that they can commit crimes in this country, a noble country of ours, we're going to make sure that we sort them wherever they are to ensure peace and tranquility in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Valentine. And what you're saying in a sense is that you're fitting, quite comfortably in the new role as the head of the criminal investigation department. Yes,
Inspector Cement, I can say so, and my Inspector Brown and other persons sometimes I don't like to blow my own trumpet. I will allow persons to judge me on the works that I will be doing, and I can tell you I spent most of my years at CID. It's like my second home from home.
Yes.
As a member of the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, and through that area I received so many trainings, and I'm prepared to actually deliver to the men under my command.
Okay, thank you very much. Inspector Brown.
Yes, sir.
From time to time, you will hear some persons saying that crime is on the increase in Saint Vincent and Grenadines. Is this really the case, or are some members of the public, misinformed about this?
Well, I know that they have been misinformed. If one looks back, say 10 years ago, at CID itself, I mean, I've been in CID for over 15 years working. One would see that the crimes reported at CID alone would have been close to 3,000. They range from petty theft to burglaries, aggravated burglaries, rape, and several different offences. Now, over the years, say 2016, 2017, we've seen there has been, say, just over 2,000 in 2016. These are the smaller crimes I'm speaking of.
Yes.
And in 2017, there has been 1,900 surplus crimes, just under 2,000. So you can see actually there's a reduction in the smaller crime. What is the concern of most persons really is the heinous one, the murders, the homicides.
Yes.
And we have seen there has been an increase, and it's of concern to us. I mean, one murder is actually too much across these small and porous borders. And we know a lot of the murders that happen is really because of groupings that associate with different peoples that have different issues that has been going on for, say, since 2014. Now, 2016 brought us 40 homicide. 2017 also brought us 40 homicide. And one might be a bit concerned about the number of persons that are being brought to justice. But sometimes when you get the information that Tom Jones committed this crime, he's already deceased. And naturally, you will not be bringing Tom Jones to justice.
Right.
And sometimes you will hear there's a homicide somewhere. Now, there are times when a homicide is lawful. Now, we would investigate the matter in the best possible way we can, and we will present a file to the officer in charge, who will channel it through the various departments for the best way forward. More than likely, it's a coroner's inquest. And the coroner, who, when you go to court, there will be a juror system, manual of your own peers,
Right.
who will determine the way forward in those particular matters. So, not necessarily when somebody kills somebody, it means that that homicide is really a murder.
Right.
Murder is really an intentional crime. Homicide really, along the lines, is like a self-defense. And you know the state too has the prerogative to let me say, hang persons still on the books.
Yes.
And
yes.
that too is a lawful homicide.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're still on the books with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm very happy that you have cleared up that between homicide and a murder, because I mean some persons think that whenever someone is killed, naturally they'll say it's a murder.
Right.
But they are lawful homicide.
Absolutely lawful homicide.
And as you said, a murder is something that is intentional.
Intentional.
Malice.
With malice aforethought.
Yeah, that's the definition.
Exactly.
I would just like to remind everyone in the listening audience in St. Vincent and in the diaspora to feel free to participate into the program. The numbers are 457-2705. And if you're calling from Magic Jack, feel free to call the number 516-350-9891. And I repeat, 516-350-9891. So please feel free to participate in this fruitful discussion.
Yes, and gentlemen, and both of you can chip in into this. While we are speaking, on homicide, some person, will look at the number of murders or homicide to say that the crime rate is high. For example, as you said, in 2016 and 2017, we've had 40 murders.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And some people will look at that and say that, our crime rate, is skyrocketing. But, there's a difference between the murder or the homicide rate and the crime rate, the overall crime rate. Can you explain that further, to our listeners?
Well, what I can say is that in terms of the crime reported incidents, lesser crimes than murders per se, the minor crimes, as you can put it, we have seen a decrease in that area, especially at CID. And overall, we have also seen throughout Saint Vincent and the Grenadines in respect of crime reported to the out district and CID of a whole.
Right.
And I think this is due to the fact that the police would have stepped up in the areas of patrol and put certain things in place in respect of of security or even training. It is important that each divisional officers and commanders of units or division put system in place to ensure that criminal activities in their area or the area that the police are on the low.
Yes.
I can tell you that the Commissioner of Police recently put a system in place where each divisional commanders has to provide a strategic crime plan for their division or departments for this new year.
Right.
We have started, and more so, we have to narrow it down to pen and pass it through the channel. And you will give a mandate as to what you decide to achieve during whether the first quarter, the second quarter. So you will have actually a review stage at each quarter. And if it's not, the mandate is not met, you have to go back to the drawing board and see where you are going wrong. So you have to provide the necessary, put the necessary structure in place in the area that you man so that you can actually curb criminal activities in your area. And I think it's a really good gesture. And we hug it. And I'm telling you that we're going to approach it with much seriousness. In 2016, as Inspector Brown said, we had 40 murders. Same in 2017.
Yes.
What is concern to me is the way how some of these crimes are committed, especially weapons that are used. Firearm offenses is really is a part of what is happening in respect of these murders. The offenses of murder are committed by, most of them are committed by firearm. And we know that we do not actually manufacture firearm in Saint Vincent and Grenadines. So we have to look at ways and means to combat firearms coming into our borders. And we know that they are porous, but we have to put system in place to ensure that we can lower what is happening with regards to fire. We already know about the drug trade, and through the drug trade, we want to believe that is the main source of those firearms coming into our country illegally. And persons are venting themselves by using them or getting others. And I will say getting others through greed and not gangs, as persons are saying. Because the thing is, if you would have noticed, as the inspector would have said earlier, before 2003, we would have seen criminal activities of the minor crimes, at like 3,000 plus. And we are seeing now decrease of 2,000. This year we have 1,992 reported crimes in at CID. It's not the overall figure throughout Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, but it demonstrates that it shows that we are doing our utmost best, and we continue to do that to make criminal activities on its low throughout Saint Vincent and the Grenadines.
So definitely, I mean, the strategies that are employed, have been working to reduce crime.
I will say so, but as I also say that if a person is bent on doing something, they think about what they are going to do. They will also try to look at the movements of the police. And that is why we have to be on the head of the game. As police officers, we have to work smart.
Yes.
And we have to put the necessary things in place so that we cannot allow these criminals to get on top of us. So we have to lock it down, identify where they're coming from, and robustly attack them so that we can really nip these things in the bud before they get out of hand.
Yes, and you reference the crime strategic plan, and I can recall, at that general meeting that the Commissioner John had on the 18th of January, two of the major points that came out from that meeting is the crime strategic plan.
Yes.
And also our Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Frankie Joseph, he also spoke about, 21st century policing.
Yes, definitely.
Which, must be intelligence-led. where we have to work smarter and harder. And certainly, I mean, once we we adapt these strategies, then we can see our crime starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller, reducing as we progress.
And I can tell you, the Deputy Commissioner, he actually had a committee in respect of the crime strategic plan for the entire Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. And we are hoping that by the first quarter that it should meet all its mandate, pass through all the threshold, and it should be coming on board soon.
Okay, great.
Yes, Valentine, you mentioned about a strategic plan that, and the work that you have been doing in the CID and the CID on a whole in crime prevention. And for those who may not have known or those who are listening, the CID has had many exhibitions, crime prevention exhibitions over the years. How would you rate these exhibitions, and how effective have they been in improving the reduction or contributing to the reduction in the crime rate?
Well, as our aim, our goal is really to reduce the incident of crime in our country, create a safe environment for the general public, respond to the public request in a timely and professional manner. We have sat and think about the way we can reach the general public in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And one of the ways that we thought we can do that is to have these exhibitions around Carnival time, Christmas time. My personal opinion and is that these exhibitions has been working. They have been working. And we would have seen it because of the fact that it speaks for itself. The statistics shows that there's a reduction of criminal activities, even though the murder rate remained the same as last year. Generally, in terms of the minor crimes, burglaries, thefts, we have seen some reduction in those areas. And that is so because of the fact that persons are adhering to the sensitization that we are giving in terms of our public reach.
Yes.
These exhibitions are meant to meet the entire state. Actually, in December, we went as far as Richmond to spread the news in respect of crime prevention and security, safety for our entire nation. As far as Fancy, unfortunately, we have not gone to the Grenadines. And I cannot actually go on without thanking our platinum sponsor who have been there for us all years, Flo. They were actually, if it wasn't for them, we would not have been that successful, or we would not have been able to actually have a show such. And we are preparing and hoping that this year we're going to make these exhibitions even bigger and better so that we can meet the entire country, even as far as the Grenadines. So I want the persons who listen in the Grenadines to understand that we have you at our heart. And I know for a fact some of the commanders even asked to have persons to assist in their division to have crime prevention exhibition in those divisions. So it shows that it's not to say they're getting jealous, but they want to make sure that home, where they actually supervise, are reached, and that the message also is spread across.
Okay. So there's a plan to decentralize the crime prevention exhibition, throughout the districts.
Definitely.
Okay, that's very, that's good news.
Useful.
Good news. Inspector Bong, you are the head of the major crimes unit. How old is that unit? When was it set up, and what is the mandate really, of the major crimes unit?
The major crime unit this year would be 15 years old. It was actually established in 2003. I remember prior to that specialization brings its benefit in all aspects, and it could have a bit of disadvantage, really. But in this regard, I think it's, beneficial. Now, prior to that, you would have, say, Inspector Simmons working in Canawan. He would deal with a murder day or so forth. It still happens if, we think that persons are on board with us,
yes,
really. And everybody really has to be on board when it comes to crime and so forth in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because it's our jurisdiction and we have to protect it at all costs, legally, that is. Now, our mandate is to investigate and bring perpetrators to justice in the best possible way we can with the available resources. And when I say resources, not just in St. Vincent, sometimes we do DNA testing as well. Recently we had somebody who was convicted and was sentenced to over 25 years in prison for a rape case in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And our mandate is to investigate murders, homicides, manslaughters, serious crimes, and any investigation that comes to the fore, whether by the ASP, the Commissioner of Police, or his deputy, really. And we work hand in hand with our counterparts, even within the region and far apart. And really and truly, I think we are meeting our mandate, our threshold. I mean, there are difficulties in persons coming forward, really, to give evidence. And I could understand that. So we have systems in place who could assist the police when it comes to investigation. For example, we have the Special Measures Act. If somebody sees a crime and they may be a victim of crimes in the past, if they see the crime and they want to come forward to give the police information, there are several ways in which we can actually protect that witness. And in order to protect the witness, we know that it can be stressful, it can be intimidating going forward to assist the police. And it also can be costly, and we can't hide from that. Now, the measures in place to assist us going forward varies. For example, we can use what they call the private courtroom setting. For example, in a rape case, you might very well find the perpetrator is on one side, and in our court systems, I see normally the victim walks in the same room, feeling a bit intimidated going in to give evidence. Now, that really tells me, seriously, that by looking at the person is going to flash back and see the actual moment that they went through in that heinous crime, you know? So one of the best things to do, well, I've seen it in a particular jurisdiction, is where a victim, yes, she knows the person, but the prosecution applied for the special measure and they use what is called the curtain measure. Now, with the curtain measure, you just simply take a curtain and separate the victim from the accused person. But the adjudicators of the facts, they're there, and they will be able to see what is going on in the court. And they're not using the same courtroom, the same doors for entering to the courtroom. They're using different doors. And what would happen? They would have counselors. They would have intermediaries. Example, if somebody have speech impairment, they were there to assist to bring the evidence forward. These people are really trained in different areas to assist justice coming forward. Yeah? So those are one way. And the private courtroom sitting is something that we have here already, you know, so where you could clear the courtroom if you think the victim is vulnerable. If the victim requests it, maybe the prosecution can talk to the victim and see if they really need it. Because really and truly, it is really to bring the best quality evidence coming forward. Because when somebody is fearful, stressful, you will not get the kind of quality and quantity evidence coming forward for the victim. So we have this Special Measures Act in place since 2013 on the heels of the witness, the electronic interview of suspects. Yeah, and I can tell you, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of the first countries in the Caribbean to bring those two pieces of legislation in place. As far as my research really goes, and it shows that we are one of the first countries to start forging ahead with special measure. I know Guyana, they started around 2016. I know there are other jurisdictions who are coming involved. I know that there are other people from other jurisdictions who are coming and having a look at what we do. So yes, there are challenges, but there are legislation in place to assist with the challenges. I mean, we've tried one or two cases in respect of special measures, and so far it's been working.
Inspector Brown, if I may interject here, you mentioned having if I'm going to present evidence the option is there for me if I'm not willing to reveal my identity, to have a curtain placed in front of me. Now, one may ask, or one may show concern to the size of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and question how effective that may be. And just in the event that I may find that method or measure, if I might not trust it, is there something a little more secure to put my mind at heart?
Absolutely. We have the modulation of the voice. So you hearing me talking now. We have the technical expert who could actually modulate your voice to make you sound like somebody else.
Okay.
Which actually blow your vision. Yeah?
Okay.
That is another aspect of special measure. And you could give that evidence from a different jurisdiction to be safer.
Okay.
You blow your vision, you modulate your tongue. But some persons would also accept, hey, I'm in a different jurisdiction. So I'm comfortable giving this evidence via a video link. And that is also acceptable. Right. But there's a process that one has to follow to give that particular evidence. I know there in some jurisdiction as well, I've never seen it happen here, where the video recorded interview, because naturally when you doing these sort of things, you have to interview the person electronically. So present it to the magistrate, and the magistrate will see if you have a claim for special measure going forward. So there are different types. These are not limited, but these are the ones that we can actually go forward with to assist in the criminal justice system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What we need to do really is sell it more to the public to say, here, we have an effective system in place here, and it really can work. It's varied, it's wide, and yes, going forward, it's not limited.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Valentine, you want to
just want to add to that we cannot actually bypass not commending the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution for recognizing the challenges that we are facing in respect of witnesses coming forward. And hence the reason for putting so much work into the Special Measures Act and have it available and has tested. So far, it has been working. It shows that the passion, the Royal Saint Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, along with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, has in respect of ensuring that justice is done throughout our country whenever it comes to persons who commit criminal activities. So I really cannot sit here without saying how thankful I am for the hard-working staff of the DPP's office for really putting systems in place to assist the police officer or the judiciary of a whole for better understanding the issue of evidence in court with regards of getting person to really testify and so on. And it has been working. Even when it comes to the electronic interviews in respect of the suspects, that also is working. It has shown more transparency. And I can tell you, this system has actually decreased the amount of allegations in respect of police in the court, especially High Court. Because I can tell you, persons used to really actually go to the court and let the court and tell the court that police abuse them physically to get out of them information so that we can charge. I can tell you that is a no-no when it comes to these electronic interviews with regard to suspects, because once it is there, once it happens, it will reveal itself, because you're watching a movie presenting itself in the court.
Yes. You know, there's a popular maxim which says justice must not only be done, but it must also seen to be done. So what you're saying, in effect, is that these two pieces of legislation, the
Special Measures
Act and the
interviewing of suspects
electronically. They have really improved the dispensation of justice, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And it also assists in the professionalism of the police.
Absolutely.
The way how the police work. So training, as we know that we have to actually train our staff or persons who are given the mandate to carry out these investigations and duties. And if it is not executed at the end of the day properly, it's obvious you will see not a good product or end product.
Yeah.
Yes, Valentin, earlier on you mentioned that the in respect of the murders, most of the murders, I mean, they are committed, by firearm. And you also said that, we don't manufacture firearms here, which is a fact. We don't make firearms in the Caribbean, I mean, as a matter of fact. And, it's of concern to us that, firearms are being used to commit, most of these murders. How can we, what measures, I mean, can you put in place to really, curtail, this to try to reduce these gun-related, incidents throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, we have to continue to encourage persons with information to come forward. We have to reassure the public that we are prepared to have these information strictly confidential, because persons are of the opinion that whenever they give the police information, these information are divulged or get out to persons who intend to commit criminal activities. And once we can get the public to trust us, I can assure you that the information will come. And once we execute properly, we'll be able to get these firearms off the road. And one of the things we observed during our investigation, we will realize that information may come that a particular individual has a firearm in their possession, but this said firearm will move from that particular person to another person who is one of his team friend. So by the time we get to that individual, the firearm will be elsewhere. And once the information is correct, we will get those firearms. I can tell you, we got, for 2016, we got 37 firearms off the road.
Excellent.
For 2017, we got 38. We increased by 1. In 2016, we got 232 ammunitions, rounds of ammunitions. And in 2017, we got 392. It shows that we are really not sleeping, but we have to get the information for us to be successful.
Yes, correct. And as you said, the trust factor is very, 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 very important. And listeners, you can call us at 4572705. That's the landline, and also the Magic Jack number. The WhatsApp number. And you can also call us via Magic Jack at 516-350-9891. 516-350-9891. Call us and let us interact tonight.
Inspector Brown, what are some of the changes that you have seen in the nature of crimes committed over the last 5 years, and what are the aspects of our culture that you think are feeding the way these crimes are committed, or feeding these crimes, if any?
Well, there's 7 different reasons. Now, people would have graduated, recidivists, repeat offenders, would have graduated from one level to the next. If they are unchecked, some of them, if they are not get involved in some positive thing, criminal offenders. Now, having said that, I've seen where, for example, 16-year-olds would have committed themselves. And maybe there has to be a better approach in place overall to assist those persons going forward. Very well find them committing themselves and become repeat offenders and graduating to more heinous crimes. And at the end product of the day, some of those persons will end up dead. And we've seen that. Now, I think there are several different reasons. There's increase in crimes in the use of weapon. Now, last year, we had close about 75% of the murders committed by use of firearm. Now, the year before was really no different. It was close to 76, as we can see. Now, so people are actually resorting to the use of firearm, which appears to be readily available to them to commit this crime. Because here, if you go in the street and have an argument with a man, you stab up a man, you might probably think, well, boy, somebody might see me easily. But somebody hides away in a particular secluded area. One shot to somebody's head, unfortunately, and that's it. And that is the use of a firearm. It's a deadly weapon. And I know I believe there should be stiffer penalties going forward for firearm offences. I mean, there are times too, the persons think, well, 2-3 years for firearm is asleep in the night or walk in the park for them, and they repeat themselves. And there are 1 or 2 offenders who are really glad to go to prison, it appears, because they don't want to change the lifestyle. Yeah? And yes, that's one aspect in the use of firearm. People get a bit more violent. We see also too that you have 1 or 2 issues with issues of deception. A person might go down the road. Recently, ESP Ballantyne had a discussion with somebody who's saying that they are a particular inspector. Now, really and truly, that inspector really doesn't do those things, really. And people would go out, suss the names of, or impersonate persons and say, Inspector Tom Jones, Inspector Harry Bob, send me for this.
Yes.
Now, if you get those sort of information, you need to recheck the particular source of the information. Yeah? Don't be hostile to the person. Take as much information from the person as possible going forward, because there's really a policy within the organization that where people must not go and beg per se for anything. If anything is going forward for anybody to do that, it really has to come from the Commissioner of Police office going down the level. So no departmental heads or anybody like that should actually go and say, well, hey, I need a sponsorship from Florida. The Commissioner of Police must know. So we would have to clock that up really and truly. If you're doing that, he must know, so that we could stop the impersonation of persons going forward. So those are different type of crime, a bit of fraud, similar to deception, a bit of a serious theft, but really and truly the murder firearm use is really concerning. I know the officers are really, really working diligently hard. The borders are real porous, as ESP Ballantyne indicated earlier. But we do our best. I know January 2018 has seen us with, unfortunately, 3 murders. I mean, that is not really the norm for January from my experience.
But Inspector, one would think that the public would be a little more supportive in the efforts of the police to get these guns off the street. I'm wondering what is allowing the Vincentians today to have information with people who possess these firearms and allow it to just slide, because we see the evidence of these crimes becoming heinous, more and more heinous with each passing day. And I mean, I would like to think that with people with that information would want to come forward. I'm wondering what would.
Yes, you see, we have persons in our heart. And if I have a son, I've given an example, and I know he has a firearm and the police is going to lock him up for it. There are some parents who would hide that firearm for him, blocking the police from actually getting the firearm. And these are some of the challenges that we have. And what happens to that firearm? It probably turn to an individual in the family, a close friend, somebody. We have got those intelligence already, and we work on it, and some of them were successful. But as ESP Ballantyne said, they move around so quickly sometimes, and that too is a challenge. So going forward, intelligence gathering is of critical importance to the police. I mean, if anybody calls the police and give information, really and truly, I'm interested in the information that you're giving. I'm not interested in the name, address, and so forth. Give me the information, give us the information. If needs be and you want to give who you are, so be it. But our role is really to get the information and act on it. And that is what is of critical importance here. I mean, the police on the line, I mean, we don't want no unnecessary questioning, really. We need the ingredients of the crime so that we can go forward and apprehend the culprits or culprits.
And I must say that, we are very encouraged, I mean, by the recent sentencing in the magistrate court. I mean, we're posting the phone with firearm.
Yep.
We are very encouraged by that. Mr. Ballantyne, one of the major responsibilities of the police is to, prevent and detect crimes. But crime prevention, I mean, also, starts with the individual as well. The individual person, has also responsibility to ensure that they too are protected from crime and violence. What do you want to say? What advice you want to say to the public out there? in terms of, assisting, cooperating with the police, in terms of, giving information, cooperating, in court matters, so that we can bring the perpetrators to justice?
Yes, just before I answer that question, moderator, just allow me to just add to what Inspector Brown said in respect of a person who wants to impersonate the police. It is important that a police officer must identify themselves. And not just saying that I'm Inspector Brown or I'm ASP Valentine, but that person is issued with an identification card. An identification card which has the person's photo along with all other information that should allow somebody to be convinced that you are actually a policeman. These are things that the person who are actually being intercepted by a particular individual who said that he or she is a police must look for when in terms of identification.
Right.
Now, in terms of your question, the police cannot function effectively without community relations and trust cooperation and sharing responsibilities in respect of public safety.
Yes.
And persons are from different backgrounds, but we are of the same culture. And we have what we see in, as Inspector Brown said earlier, repeat offenders coming out from the prisons, and they will tend to actually get persons on board with them to assist in committing criminal activities. My advice to persons, they have to look at the positiveness in respect of not getting involved in criminal activities, but to stay focused and realize that crime is not the way forward. I know that we are still a Christian-oriented society. Saint Vincent and the Grenadines is still a Christian-oriented society, and persons, a majority of us come from background that, has proper moral and values and so on. But because of sometimes peer pressure, a person who want to associate themselves with certain groups, they tend to get involved in criminal activities. My advice to person is to stay focused, get involved in some educational program. The parents, they also have a responsibility because they have to ensure that their teenagers, these youths are brought up in the correct way. Engage them in activities. We have our police force. Right now, the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has about 27 youth programs. Yes, youth clubs. We have Pan Against Crime. These are programs that we try to meet the youths in the society with. So there's evidence to show that the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is really doing their part, but we cannot do it alone. And we have to encourage the parents, the churches, all of the other agencies to get on board and assist us in fighting crime in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We will not let our guard down. We'll continue to do our best to ensure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines stay safe. As I said before, we are not verging to criminal activities, but we will do our best to ensure that we see crime decrease in our country for 2018. I just want to encourage my hard-working men to ensure that they keep their ears on the ground. We have to hit 2018 running. Unfortunately, so far, yes, we had 3 murders. What I can say about those 3 murders, that they are not related. They are not related, but one is too much. One is too much. And January just about to wrap up. Let us hope for the best. We will continue to do our patrols. We will continue to encourage the business communities to be more security conscious by the installation of proper security systems in place. We'll engage in public outreach programs in an effort to build a better relationship with the public. One of the things I recall at the hierarchy meeting is where it was stressed that we have to revive these youth clubs in the districts and ensure that they remain vibrant and active. And we will continue to stage our crime prevention exhibition throughout the state of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. We want to provide the highest possible security to the citizens of this country. And we can only do so by responding promptly and effectively to all reports and complaints. I always encourage my men and other police officers who I speak with from time to time to ensure that they provide feedback. Feedback is important. When a person makes a report, the person needs redress. And we have to do that in a modern world right now, because people want to ensure that they know why this was committed against them, this act was committed against them, and who did it. And if so, what would be the outcome? So we have to provide the satisfaction to the victims when they made these reports. These are some of the areas that I want to encourage our law enforcement officers. As we know, the Royal Saint Vincent and Grenadines Police Force is basically the security that is charged with the responsibility for the security of our citizens and visitors of a whole. And we cannot let our guards down. And I know the leadership of the organization, they will not ease up with the mandate in respect of the way forward for 2018 for fighting crimes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Well said, ASP Ballantyne. Gentlemen, unfortunately, the time has expired on us. We have come to the end of this evening Police on the Beat program, and I want to thank you very much, ASP Ballantyne and Inspector Brown, for coming to the studios and to share your knowledge and experience with our Vincentian public. The program was very, very informative, and certainly because of the time, we may have to invite you guys back into the studio, at a different date, so that we can continue, this message.
I have no problem at all coming back, but I also believe in empowerment, so you may see other faces coming from time to time. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for having us also, Inspector Simon.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to another edition of the Police on the Beat program, which comes to you under the auspices of the Public Relations and Complaint Department of the Royal Saint Vincent and Grenadines Police Force.